Namaste to all. I'm delighted to be here with you this afternoon with an objective to ignite within you what it takes to shape the future of technology with law. It's hot and sunny where I am. So, guess what? I'm going to keep my visual content delightful and short. I have no more than 3 operative slides, and my expectation from myself is to give you as much a feel and flavor of what it takes to make up your mind and help you realize that maybe you have a lot more in you than you think to be on my side. There are so many streams of law. You could be a property lawyer, you could be a lawyer guiding the government. There are laws relating to ships, popularly known as maritime law, and then there are welfare legislations and so on and so forth. If you could just click the button once more for me, please. We are going to be talking to each other about the stream of law in which I have specialized for a decent amount of years, and that is corporate law. We will talk about corporate law, in-house practice focused on information technology as an industry. For ease of reference, there are two broad streams of lawyers: litigation lawyers, those who go to courts, and non-litigation lawyers like myself, those who support with administrative, consulting, and corporate practice. I am told by the chief coordinator of PLEA, Ms. Malvika, that you all have interest in different fields, and that's very, very good to be. All fields pursued with conviction are great and rewarding, but hope you go back with enough information on corporate law practice from the IT side after the session today. Okay, so I'd like to give you a feel and flavor of how Bharat and IT development have been going hand in hand. And I'm pretty certain some of you may know this far better than me. However, I must highlight two most unique facets. In 1998, information technology contributed to about 1.2% of country's GDP, while last year the same has increased to 7.5 percentage. And in terms of absolute number, we are talking about US dollar 245 billion. Okay. The second most important facet is, proudly so, we are one amongst the largest IT and IT enabled service providers, service exporters. So you can imagine where we are headed. And so the first question I pose to you is, are you ready to take on this massive responsibility onto your shoulders to make yourself proud and your nation as well? Okay, so Bharat on growth spree, undoubtedly. But sir, we are students of law. Tell us how we can contribute. And answer is, there are many streams and avenues as lawyers to contribute to. Pick a career in intellectual property law. While lawyers do extremely well, generally all lawyers do extremely well. Those with basic science background or scientific acumen would do exceptionally well in this field. Pick on tax practice. Again, lawyers being learned in law would generally do extremely well. But those with basic commerce background and arithmetic acumen would do exceptionally well. Contract law is very basis to the IT corporate law. Emerging trends include requirements for lawyers with exceptional understanding on data privacy and artificial intelligence. Interesting enough, lawyers are paid well too. So you have the blend of both, a sense of satisfaction that you are associated to a bigger cause, and it takes care of more than your financial requirements as well. Next and the last slide, please. So, are you ready to shape the future of IT through law is the question I pose to you. Which future, again, is both rewarding and fulfilling? Maybe, maybe not. Now, I am the one who's here to help you shape your mindset from may not be to maybe. So from here, I'll stop and I'll leave the floor open to you. Malvika, I don't know how you want to do this, but I'd love to address as many questions, as many answers, as many skepticisms, as many optimisms as possible from our young minds who are participating today.
So meanwhile, sir, in our registration form, we have invited questions. The general queries were that I have completed my LLB. Now, what are the dimensions in technology law that one can explore? So these were general queries that we got. So, sir, can you address this?
Oh, certainly. So like I said in one of my previous slides, in the space of technology, there are many streams, some which are already established and some which are new. Like I said, intellectual property is one of the most popular ones amongst the young breed of lawyers. Tax practice is one amongst the most popular ones for those who come in from a little business background of sorts. AI is picking up in a big way. Artificial intelligence, again, it hasn't made its way as big as it should be. So if you are keen and if you kind of pursue insights around how the AI laws around the world are shaping up, that will certainly give the students today an edge once we have matured laws shaping in our country.
Okay, sir. Next question from the registration form was, what is the scope for fintech professionals in tech law?
Excellent. So just to explain the larger audience, and thank you so very much for asking this question. So technology per se is a broad avenue. We have one space which is called the fintech. As the name suggests, these are financial technology organizations. Okay, just to give you an example, there are automations on the ATMs which we use almost on a day-to-day basis, right? Now, there has to be some technology intelligence behind this. And this is just one of the many examples of the fintech that we have today. What is the area or what is the knowledge specialized in law that you would require? I'd say you would need basic understanding on the corporate law side of it, which comprises of Contracts Act and the IT Act. So if you have studied, learned, and if you have the zeal to master these, then these are the two basic primary laws that will be of extreme help to you.
Okay, sir.
So I would like to understand as to what exactly would be the options available as far as the DPTB Act part is concerned. I believe even now the rules are yet to be notified, but then I believe in the next session probably even the rules will get notified. So what would be the options open as a lawyer in the coming few days, sir?
So it depends on where you are, whether you are a part of the bank, whether you're part of the insurance, whether you're part of an organization like SAS. Okay. The options available to you at this point in time are several. You are very well placed to comprehend the general laws as they are shaped today. Okay. Try and have conversations with the user community in the organization where you are. Now, I'll tell you what I mean by giving an example of how I am contributing. I work for an organization which is data analytics leader. Okay, I have different departments, including marketing, human resources, so on and so forth. Right. What I have done for my organization is I've studied the law. I am just like you, eagerly awaiting the rules that will come out. Okay, and I have kept a framework ready. Okay, there have been a way in which I have been working before the law was passed, and now, for want of certainty, I am ready or I am prepared with what likely could come. And again, once the rules are in place, I'll be in a better position to provide efficient guidance. So there are two ways in which you can contribute. One is consulting, which is guide your team as to what should be their level of preparedness, and other is keep the framework ready so that when the rules are there, you are one amongst those early embracers of what the law means.
I actually had a question in terms of understanding the IT law, especially in artificial intelligence in India. Would you recommend any course that we can do? Because artificial intelligence is so new. I want to understand that are we legally ready for artificial intelligence? And secondly, is there any firm that is actively working on the legal side of artificial intelligence? So, students and interns can actually go around there and understand this better legally.
So Vishaka, I will tell you what the question that you have asked is something the entire world is pondering on. Okay, this is an excellent question, absolutely a need of an hour question, something that you and me, an entire fraternity together needs to kind of think through. But I'll give you some interesting insights. Do we have the law at present in the country? Answer is a clear no. Would it be a part of our country. I would say it's already, I mean, from a usage perspective, like I said, your generation knows far better than me. The acceptance as a user is already there. Awareness around it is also already there. Now, as lawyers, what you may want to do is instead of hunting for a law firm, which I'm pretty certain would claim that they have practice, but I'll have my reservations. And again, this is not to put any law firm down, but it's just the newness of it is such a big attribute that at this point in time, our country is nowhere close to where we should be. Now, that said, it's a global challenge. So several other countries good enough are working together to come up with a framework of AI law. Now, if this is your area of interest, I'll have an interesting advice for you.
Mm-hmm.
Please study through the material that is already available in some of the advanced nations. Okay. If you
Right.
would like to learn about what the shortcomings are, what are the real grave questions that our fraternity around the world is battling with, pick on case laws, case studies from countries like Singapore, because culturally we are very close to Singapore as compared to US or UK or the likes. Again, does any organization, does any country at this point in time have a clear answer to any of these? I'd say the answer is a no. But that's where lies the opportunity for budding minds like yours. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be amongst those very few ones who have what it takes to be there, which is the right mindset. And your curious mindset is all at this point in time that you need.
Right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, meanwhile, IIT Kharagpur is offering a course in LLB ONS. So, are you aware of it by any chance?
I am not, but I would love to hear more about it if you have
So,
information.
the participant is asking whether he or she should seek that course.
So, my advice on generally who ask me, whether which course should I pursue, my advice would be that, follow your calling. And when I say follow your calling, I don't mean to sound like a Bollywood actor here. But literally, what you should do is, try and read through, try and talk through, and try and gauge what's your area of interest. Okay. Once you have identified your area of interest, then try and understand which is the best university offering this course. So do not get intimidated by the fact that there is some course offered by IIT or IIM, and that's where I should do that course. Again, that may work, that may not fully work. So my advice would be that put the horse before the carriage and not the carriage before before the horse. So have a mindset, a clear understanding of what is the area that you would like to pursue, and then decide which is the best institution offering this course.
Okay, sir.
Good evening, sir. Rohan this side.
I know.
So my question would be, sir, what are the key challenges in effectively enforcing technology law in a rapidly evolving technological environment?
Sure. So challenges are multifold, okay, and that's what gives a lot of scope for opportunity for lawyers like us. At macro level, the challenges by and large are keeping pace with the ever evolving technology. Okay, take for example the Data Protection Act itself, right? All the corporations within our country have been used to dealing with data in a certain way, have been used to storing data in a certain way, have been used to playing with the data in a certain way. Now, all of a sudden, there is a regulation which regulates almost all aspects of data, right? So, the biggest challenge, and like I said, more than the challenge, the biggest opportunity for all of us lawyers, it lies in this challenge, which is comprehending what the laws are. Okay, so as students of law and as lawyers in practice, one of the things that we are trained to do is understand the genesis of what the law is, why the law is, which is the jurisprudence aspect of it, and then advise to the teams on ground how to implement it effectively.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, sir. This is again Yogendra Khere here.
Hi,
Just to
Yogendra.
take the discussion forward on the data protection law itself once again, basically, I am working with a utility company wherein we are managing the data of more than 1 million customers, sir.
Right.
Now, the challenge that we are also facing is that basically I'm working as a data protection officer over there. Plus,
Right.
I am also working. I have also completed my law over here, and I'm working in the cybersecurity field. Now, one of the ask from the management was also like that just check out in case we can pursue a course, let's say in the cyber law kind of thing. Now,
Right.
my submission to this point was that basically a cyber law is a very small sub-module of, let's say, of the overall law fraternity, because there is no such course, let's say, under our existing LLB or LLM course also, wherein which consists of cyber law. But ideally, just because there are so many universities, so many institutions are there, so they have captured that buzzword, and subsequently they have started their own course. Is there any relevance, first of all, to pursue such kind of courses which are there available in the market, or a simple LLB and an LLM degree is more than sufficient to suffice this part? This is point number one as far as the academics part is concerned. As far as the future of, let's say, the data protection law part is concerned, how can we, as the lawyer, or let's say from the legal fraternity, how can we capitalize on that, sir? That is also my next question, sir.
Sure. So I'll answer your second one first. Okay. As lawyers, if you are planning to capitalize one, then you have future like some of the major evolving business leaders have. Okay. So this is also one of the assurances that, lawyers not only make extremely good politicians, but lawyers also make extremely good businessmen. And there are enough illustrations on this. Okay. So, I mean, from your question itself, I would encourage you to kind of, rather pursue a degree in business, do an executive MBA or something, if you're talking to capitalize on the data bit. That aside, because I will want to kind of, wear the lawyer hat today more than the business head. So I'll answer your first question now. You are absolutely right. Data protection and cyber securities, these two have no bearing with each other. If you are working for a utilities company, it's very likely most of protection, etc., that your organization is looking for will be managed by your IT team itself. Okay, so you don't need any additional course, etc., for that. Now, that said, the practical aspect to it would be there are enough organizations, institutions offering decent good courses on cyber securities. If it's an area of interest and if your management feels too keen that you must pursue it, please, by all means, be their guest and pursue it.
I'm
But
already
you
a
are
cyber professional, just to add on to this.
yes,
Already working in that field for quite some time, and there was an ask from the management that basically we are looking out for the data protection part also. So that's how I got into that new role, sir.
excellent. Well, that's so nice. But again, when you told them, you are absolutely right that data protection and cyber security, these are absolutely two diverse fields. I don't believe the way they are today they converge anywhere. Okay. That said, data protection is a growing field, and I'm sure being in practice, you would appreciate, because every time a new clarification on the subject comes in, there is something new for you to offer back to your management. Okay. I'd also advise you, and I'll use this question to advise everybody else on this call as well, get into the habit of asking questions. Okay. So when your management says, go and do a certain course, there is very likely they either know something about the course or they know something about their organization where they believe that, very likely this course may be of help. I'd suggest get into a dialogue with your management, try and gauge what is it that they want from you, what is their expectation from you. Okay. Again, it's not going to do any better, but to shape your understanding, which at present is you're doing just as well. And you may just be doing well. So you don't need a specialized course for that.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I have a query. My question is, I'm pursuing law and I have BCom degree. So, can I have
Very
a
good.
career in technology law as I don't have science background?
Of course, you may, my friend. So I'll tell you something more about myself. I have done junior college in commerce stream. Okay. And I have done my LLB from college in Mumbai. And is that good enough for you to take technology as a law practice? Answer is a very clear yes. Okay. And I say this not only to encourage you, but I'll substantiate this with what I believe have worked really well for me. You are already a student of law. That means you have a strong understanding on the fundamentals of contracts, which forms the basis. Okay. And I'll relate this as well. So the organization that I work for, okay, licenses software. Now, licensing of software also merits contracts, because there will be a written contract basis which I will have licensed the software to a customer, right? So you're already learned in contract. What you will need and what you can acquire is an understanding on technology. Now, how that happens, I'll tell you. This is not the first organization that I work for. I have worked for different IT organizations where aptitude, mindset, offerings, etc., has all been diverse and different. When you get into an organization, or if you want to kind of learn more about how you could contribute, try and understand the technology aspect of it. You don't have to become an engineer. There are engineers who are specialists in technology. There are those IT technology experts who are who would also be a part of the organization. So as a lawyer, what you will have to do is you continue to wear your legal hat, but spend as much time as possible with the people in technology so that you are able to understand them more. There may be certain language which they talk, which may be Greek and Latin to us. We don't understand it too well. It's absolutely polite and professional to tell them, hey, can you please explain this to me in simple language, right? It's just like you talk to a technology person and start throwing jargons of warranties, guarantees, etc., right? He's going to feel, or she's going to feel baffled as well. So, but the point is, try and make conversations with those who are expert in technology, especially the IT team. And like I said, you'll be the excellent blend, okay, that I am aspiring to be being a lawyer.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Rohit this side.
Hi, Rohit.
My question is, how do current intellectual property laws apply to software development and technology innovation?
Okay, so I will keep it to the very basic. Okay, if you know technology development and if you know IP laws, right? The only protection offered to innovation is through the IP law. So there is a direct relationship. In fact, the IP laws are framed to ensure and provide protection to innovation.
Okay.
Hello, so my query is to you. What does a blockchain lawyer do? What is his role actually?
I think yes.
Okay.
So there are many aspects with respect to being a blockchain lawyer. Okay, and it's an interesting term that you point. There is no lawyer called a blockchain lawyer, but I get what you're wanting to know through this. Okay, so again, not to confuse majority of those who are on this call, I'll keep it simple and I'll call it technology. Okay, what does it take to be a good blockchain lawyer? What does it take to be a good technology lawyer? The first and foremost important thing is understanding of the technology. Okay, so try to decipher what blockchains are. In this case, I'd say try not to create an analogy. Okay, and I'll tell you what I mean by it. As lawyers, when I try to simplify things, I look at things in a certain way. Whether I'm licensing software or I'm licensing a property for rent, okay, what are the similarities? And you'll be surprised there are enough similarities, but of course they are not identical. They are not the same. So that's one. Try and understand what blockchains are, how they work. At this point in time, the lawyers are able to contribute to the blockchain in terms of helping and formulating regulations. So that's that contribution of we as lawyers in this field.
Can you tell us about some forums from where we can update our technical knowledge and also use it for networking?
Sure. So I'd say e-forums, if I mean, my personal preference are the e-forums. Okay. I use LinkedIn to the fullest. There are enough guidance available on YouTube and the like in terms of how to harness LinkedIn appropriately. So as students of law and as budding practitioners, I would say try and use LinkedIn to the fullest. It cuts on boundaries without you physically having to be at any place. So that is one of the nicest place to start. Okay, as in when your interests start developing, there are enough and more e-course subscriptions available as well. LinkedIn has one of the high-end ones. I personally use that, and I strongly recommend that to be used. There is enough free guidance from some of the eminent lawyers and law firms and government, which is freely available on their websites as well. Feel free to cruise that. I would also encourage that, if you're in a class, if you're a part of a certain institution, please make groups, okay, groups of fellow students, fellow lawyers who are of similar interest, okay, because information sharing is going to lead you a long way. So let's take, for example, your good self, me and Malvika. We are from the same class and our interest is technology. Three of us can work extremely efficiently if, we split ourselves, research on topics which are of common interest, then come and discuss. That I think, again, where it's no registrations, no nothing, and it's all there for you.
Okay, so the next question is, how can one develop legal softwares? Any tips?
Yes. So here again, the query is more on the lines of business development. Okay, but I'm very happy to hear that there are lawyers with business acumen, and this is exactly what is a recipe to make you a successful lawyer. You have studied law, so you are extremely good lawyer. But whether will you do good as an advisor or no will depend a lot on how much of a business understanding you have, how much of appetite you have to grasp business. So thank you for asking this question. Now you will do extremely well if you floated a legal compliance software by first trying to talk to corporations and finding out what is it that they lack. Okay, so try and look at it this way. All technology innovations have spurred from some gaps they've identified. Okay, I mean, range it from the steam engine to AI today, right? Man felt the need that we had to commute from A place to B place. Then man felt the need that we had to travel faster from A place to B place. And that's how technological advancements took place in the locomotive engines that we know of modern. This is no different, right? The latest I know in the legal space is that there are CLM modules available, which is the contracts lifecycle management modules, which are available, which can help you read, review, and intercept contracts. So let's say I, as an organization, have a contract. I give it to you, a bank or customer in any other space, my contract, and you as a lawyer on the other side have reviewed, marked up, edited the contract. When that contract comes back to me, there are physical ways of doing it, which is kind of, having two screens open, reading through line by line, or then there are features which are available in Microsoft Word, or then there are now, thanks to artificial intelligence, advanced versions available where when I put in the contracts into the module, it'll give me data, it'll give me a report which will say, hey, you know what? Our sense is that the customer wants you to clarify or add language on a certain fields. If you do that, they'll by and large be happy with it, which makes my life so easy. So have two things in mind: find the gap, okay, and try to come up with innovation which will make it easy to bridge the gap.
Well, actually, I have a question. Like, nowadays there is a lot of frauds happening in the cyber fraud and cyber fraud, and the generally the people are not aware when to approach and where what to do in case someone is a victim of a cyber fraud. And every day new modus operandi is being utilized by these products. So, like if someone is a victim, so he approaches a lawyer. So, what kind of a service the lawyer can provide? Like some intermediaries also involved, like banks is involved, or something involved. So, what type of legal advice and legal help can be given to such cases?
Sure, sure. So extremely good question. I'm sorry your voice wasn't too clear to me, but what you're asking is, what should be the modus operandi for lawyers when it comes to financial frauds? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Excellent. And you're absolutely right. The modus is getting creative day by day, and it's hard to keep a tab. But I'll tell you as lawyers what you should do. First and foremost, have an avenue open to provide general and basic information, which is as soon as you or your client has learned of a financial fraud, the first thing they should do is inform the bank that, hey, look, something like this has happened to me. You'll be surprised with innovation in fraud. There have been innovation in banking space as well, where they are able to work with or without lawyers to ensure that the fraud is curtailed to the extent it can be. Okay. So that is the first responsibility as a lawyer. Disseminate as much good information you have as to what are the first basic steps. The next part where you can be of help is with respect to recovery. But again, that recovery then will merit a lot of support from, like you rightly mentioned, the banks, because A lot of it has happened through their networks. And again, you'll be very surprised to know the way the banks and their specialized teams cooperate with you. So these are the two primary places where you can play a major role.
Sir, my question would be, sir, as I belong to a second tier law school, so my
Yes.
highest stress, sir, leads on to get internships in firms like corporate firms or like firms looking into IT laws. So, sir, what are the requirements these firms or these organizations like SAS looks into the requirements what they require to take intern?
So if I heard you right, you're saying you're a student of second year law?
I said I belong to a second tier law school.
Okay, okay. So I'll tell you what. First thing first, get this out of your mind. There are no tiers in law school. Any school which teaches you law are best. Okay, so I mean, tell this to yourself that you're going to become a lawyer. You're going to be contributing immensely to the society. Okay, so study of law, whether you do it from a college or whether you do it on yourself, it's still a study. You are far better than those who believe they know and understand law versus you who studied it. Okay, so get this out of your mind. Now, with respect to what do companies or corporations or law firms look out for when you're looking out for stuff to do your internships? I think basically what they look out for is, do you have sufficient knowledge in law? Okay, and when we say sufficient knowledge, do you have sufficient theoretical knowledge in, right? Because you're students, so you're not expected to know practical. You're not supposed to have practical knowledge at all. Now, so with basic understanding in law, okay, the only other thing that ideally somebody should look out for is, do you have the appetite for learning? Okay, because you're not a full-fledged lawyer yet, you can't contribute, you're not expected to contribute. And so the expectation from you, but again, I have been through the phase that you are in, and I was asked a lot of queries, questions, etc., where by and large, everybody tries to gauge a fitment. Okay, and I'll tell you what I mean by fitment. So I'll ask you basic questions like, hey, you know what, I'm a technology company. Do you have any interest in technology? And you'd be like, no, you know what, sir, I'd rather become a litigation lawyer. Then I'd say, okay, great, good. Then you're better off doing internship with somebody who's a litigation lawyer and not a corporate lawyer. So those are some of those basic things that they'll ask you. Now, I have known that there could be organizations who may go out of their way and set up a question paper or the like for you. And that's also good because that helps you test yourself as to where do you stand vis-a-vis the expectation of the organizations. Another thing you may want to keep in mind is the organizations who generally have a list of protocols would hope that when your internship is successfully completed, they'll very likely hire you. Okay. So as students, have your eyes and ears open to understand that as well. But again, literally from an internship perspective, your inquisitive mindset is all that is required.
Okay, so thank you for that, your response. But sir, I would like to know like what would that special requirement be? Because how should I like show myself in my resume, which would attract me in some corporate firm? Like because mostly when I'm applying, I get rejected because of my law school name or because I don't have that sufficient skill. So what would that skill be, which would let me enter into a corporate firm for internship?
Sure. So I'll tell you what, and again, my apologies for rejections. I have been rejected. I mean, I don't want to tell you the count in this public forum, but I am pretty certain you have not even made those many applications. The amount of applications that I have made and I've been rejected. I'll tell you one thing, don't be dejected by that. But yes, what you're asking is the most relevant question. What is it that you can do to improve yourself? Okay. Now, because you're a student, there are a certain privileges available to you. And I'll tell you what, find out what those privileges are. For example, you can participate in moot courts, mock court competitions, etc. Participate in those, try and win galores there, or try and participate in galores with your seniors there. Okay, because that will expose you to a student's eye view to what the future of lawyers in the field of litigation, for example, is going to be. Okay, those then add strength to your CV. Okay, if you have a knack of a certain industry, please study about it. If you have an opinion about a certain field, please write an article. There are enough websites where articles can be published for free. Okay, so have that. For that, you don't need a certificate, or you don't need to have sanction or an approval from any organization, any corporations, any institutions. Do these things. What these will do is two things. Instead of thinking around, oh, I'm getting rejected, you will have channelized your efforts into something which is more productive. Who knows, somebody like me may just be very impressed with the research that you do, and your research can actually, or your opinion can actually be of value to me. If and when that happens, you have created yourself a space which says, hey, you know what, I have something on these lines. You've already done some study. Would you like to come over to help me? So have that as a mindset, okay, and see where you land.
Thank you so much, sir, for that.
Yeah.
Any
Hello.
more questions, participants? Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir. This is Siddharth here. I'm a
Yes,
practicing advocate. I have a question whether litigation have any role to play in this field, or it's only restricted to the corporate law.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if it has a role, how can I make my base strong, and what are the requirements to have a good practice in this in litigation?
Sure. Okay. So I have done very little of litigation. Your question is an apt question for somebody who's in litigation. But I'll tell you what, I always say there are two steps to becoming successful. One, which is the first step, is telling yourself that I want to be successful. In your case, you've already taken that first step. You were asking me that, tell me, what does it take to be the best lawyer? Okay. And second literally word for you and me is practice, right? And that's why our law is called law of practice, right? So practice will make you perfect. To answer your question, does litigation have to play any role in the field of technology? I'd say litigation plays a very big role in the field of technologies in many ways. Okay. And again, I'm not saying this just to flatter you, but think about it like this. I'm in corporate practice. I have drafted contracts. We enter into transactions, national, multinational, high value, etc. Okay. Uh, Very likely some of them will end up into misunderstandings, which will lead to litigation. Okay. At that point in time, you as litigation lawyer will step in to bail either of us out or both of us out. Okay. Now I'll tell you from a mindset perspective, being an in-house counsel, my expectation from you would be to try and mediate. Okay, because technology as a field does not come very naturally to everybody. So you as a litigation lawyer, you have super specialized understanding in terms of procedures for litigation, but very likely what you may lack is understanding on technology. And if you bridging this gap, okay, you have the best of both worlds. One, you are a super specialist in procedures and the way to put this across through litigious medium, which is courts or arbitrations or whatever that is. And second, now you have bridged your gap in terms of understanding of technology.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, would you please suggest me
Uh,
some books on this subject to clear my basics at least?
So I will tell you, I can request you books, but your question is very broad. Okay, technology at this point in time, I mean, just look around you, you're surrounded by technology. So what facet of technology, what aspect of technology, which side of technology? I mean, I'll
So
give you an
probably
example. So
IPR because it's going to be sorry.
yeah,
Interrupting.
no. If it's intellectual property rights, yes, that's still a narrower subject in technology. Okay, what I will do is I'll send in a few recommendations to PLEA. I'll send it into Malvik and I'll ask her to send them across to you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. Myself, Sarthak. My question is, are cyber law and technology law the same?
Okay, great. You have one question. Excellent. Cyber law and technology law are not the same. Cyber law is a facet to technology law. So technology laws covers lot more aspects than cyber law. Cyber law basically deals with cyber security aspect of it. Okay. So to that tune, they are interrelated but not the same.
Sarthak, I hope that addresses your query.
So there is one more query from my side. This is Yogendra Khere here. As you have aptly said, that you are a corporate lawyer kind of thing. Now, to be a corporate lawyer, for example, I'm naive on that part. I'm not aware. So, do you have to take the sanad and subsequently you can be a corporate lawyer, or just with your law degree you can be a corporate lawyer? How does that? Because as for the litigation part goes, you need a sanad, and only after that probably you'll be able to stand in a court, right? So, how exactly does that happen? Second thing is that in case you have a sanad, in that case, can you still work with any of the?
Okay. Okay, so yes, two questions. For general audience, let me just clarify what a sanad is. Okay, so sanad is the license to practice. There is some specialized exams which you have to give after you've completed either your 3 years of law or 5 years of law, whichever stream you are in. Once you have got yourself a sanad, you have the license to practice. When you say license to practice, you have the license to practice in the courts. Okay, so to become corporate lawyer, do you need a sanad? Answer is a no. Okay, you don't need a sanad. Now, it may not be a clear yes or a no if you are working for an organization like a law firm, okay, where the law firm has dual practice. One where they are advising on corporate aspects, another they are managing litigations. Okay, so but to make it plain and simple, me working as an in-house lawyer or anybody working as an in-house lawyer would not need a sanad. Okay, because I very likely what I'll do is I'll have somebody who's a super specialist in litigation or a specialist in litigation and outsource the litigation part of work to that lawyer or that law firm, who will then need a sanad because, like I said, sanad is the license to practice. In-house corporate lawyers don't need a sanad.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot.
One last query from the
Yes, please.
registration form. Is there scope for technology lawyers in India?
Oh, there is immense scope for technology lawyers in India. And in fact, I was wondering, the crowd is really value oriented and nobody asked me this query. But it's interesting, the scope from a contribution perspective is what I said. And, scope from a financial lucrativeness perspective is also, I'll tell you, the salaries could range from 3.5 lakhs to 2.5 crore rupees a year. Okay, so yes, there is enough scope and there is enough space for you to add value to.
Okay, sir. So the follow-up question to that was, what are the skills that a technological lawyer should have?
Two primary ones: be extremely good at your academic understanding on law, and two, enhance the skill set of understanding, learning, and mastering what technology is. That said, you don't need an additional degree in engineering, like I said earlier. Okay, but do spend time with engineers or those with technology mindset, because you will become a domain expert only if you understand the domain too well. Okay, so two things: you need to be extremely good at being IT specialist lawyer. One is being a lawyer, and the other is IT part of it. So marry these two together, and you have the recipe for success.
Great, sir.
We may, if I just have some concluding remarks. So thank you so much again, Malvika and team, for having me here. I'd just like to kind of give the audience some words of wisdom, and this is the philosophy on which I have based my life on, which is asatoma sadgamaya, which is in life only knowledge should prevail and not the darkness in the form of ignorance. All of you lawyers have taken a big step today in kind of overcoming this darkness of what corporate law and what IT is all about. So kudos to you for that. Let me also take this opportunity to tell all you lawyers in the making and all the lawyers who are already in practice that thanks to you, our judiciary will continue to do real good for years to come. Good luck. Have a pleasant evening and a progressive future ahead.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your expertise and experiences with us. We can't thank you enough and hope to see you soon.
We will. Thank you.